Welcome, everybody, to the Rally Cry Collegiate Series presented by the Army National Guard. My name is Seymour. With me is Vincent. We're into day number 4. Vincent, yesterday we got to see the winners, semifinals. Both of the matches go the distance. 3 matches, and they were incredible, electrifying. The team stepped up. We saw upsets. We saw, things we really didn't expect. And I hope that that is exactly what we're going to get today as well.
Yeah, I mean, from yesterday, I feel like we came in with some expectations, and in every way, those were blown out of the water, whether that be in a positive way when it came to GMU, just absolutely finding footing in every moment, or on the other side of things, where we thought we'd see a little bit more dominance from Northwood, and they got pushed. And they got pushed hard. It was really fun to see.
It was really fun. And GMU, I mean, big shout out to GMU for the performance that they put on as well. Fighting tooth and nail all game long against the Fisher Falcons and upsetting them. See you in the winners finals. And that matchup is one that I'm going to be excited for later on down the line. And, talking about these matches and the way that I'd say GMU kind of approached this one, was this, a possibility in your minds?
Honestly, I don't think that I was thinking about it, but the reality is it's always a possibility. Everybody has that opportunity, but when I'm kind of putting together the story, I'm thinking about what things are on paper, and realistically, well, that's not always how they go down, and that's, I think, what we saw for the majority of yesterday. We saw the difference between what things look like on paper and then what actually happens in the server, and that's where everybody can come out and show up.
Yeah, and I think, another team that really showed up was Oklahoma Christian University. OC stood up to Northwood, a team that, a lot of us kind of recognized as, one of the best here in collegiate Counter-Strike. And they remain to be up there as well. Oklahoma Christian, they can walk away from this series really, I'd say, comfortable with the way that they played versus Northwood. Still things to work on heading into the lower bracket, but even still, you can walk away knowing that you stood up to one of the best. And later on, if you get another chance, you could potentially even take them down next time.
Exactly. There's that possibility. There's even more. And you know what? I think that is probably now the time to shift our focus and talk about the lower bracket. We've talked a lot about the upper side of the bracket, which we've been hanging out in all of yesterday, but now we watch teams play for their tournament life. It's do or die at this point. And down in the bottom left, those are the games that we're going to be jumping into for today, and some big names. I think RIT, the one to come to the head when it comes to teams we didn't necessarily expect to be down here in this round of the lower bracket.
No, I'd say, you and I, we got to see NC State Wolfpack back in week number 1. They took on Brock University, and that was a pretty dominant showing for them. I mean, they really showed up, a 2-0 swift win to head into, our second round of the winners bracket. You can see up top, they lose to Fisher College. They drop down. Matthew McConaughey's fan club is who is up next, who lost to GMU Patriots in a 2-0 loss. So both of those teams, suffering the hand of a 2-0 loss, and that is something that we're going to have to be taking a look at later on for our second match of the series. Our first match of the series, something that we have to really dive into, is again another unexpected situation. RIT Orange heading up against the likes of the Ohio State University Buckeye Gaming Collective, and what a shock this was. The national champions in the lower bracket. What's going on, Vincent? What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two sides of this story. The first of which is that anybody can come out and play well on a good day, but Northwood are the other team that we really had high expectations for. The only question mark was, were they as good as we had expected, had seen back a year ago? And the answer is that they were. They caught RIT off guard in that matchup, and you know what? It didn't even look particularly close. They got dominated in that series. It was a 13-5, 13-6 scoreline, and Mirage is one thing, but Overpass is a map that RIT really do perform well on typically, and they got blown away.
Yeah, and whether that has to say more about Northwood rather than RIT, it's something that shouldn't be, and it's something that nobody would have predicted. But going up today against the Ohio State University Buckeye Gaming Collective is maybe where we can see a return to form for this RIT team. But Ohio State University, I mean, this is not a team you want to take lightly. They take Oklahoma Christian to 3 maps. They fall at the finish line. But now in the lower bracket, they have their own chances. They match up against RIT, the previous national championships, and this is a really good chance to prove themselves.
Yeah, I think that this OSUBGC team is a team that coming into this event, I knew about. I had seen them a little bit in NACE last semester, and they looked okay. But I think when I saw them, they were playing against, I think it was UCF that I saw them against, and I just walked away not feeling strongly regardless. A team that has a lot behind them. They have quite a bit of experience, and they've also been playing together for a little bit, but that I didn't have any real expectations for. Now, I think with pushing OC to the limit, now I do have some expectations, and I think that this is a great chance to prove exactly where this team is at, because they haven't had to. That first round matchup, they played against their sister team, their B team, and they were also playing with their coach, so we didn't really get a lot to work from with that. And the OC team, we know how powerful they are. RIT, it's going to be an uphill battle maybe, but I think this is very winnable.
This is definitely going to be a fun match, and we can take a look at where the series is going to take us. If it's in, we ban out Nuke, we get rid of Vertigo. It's taking us to Ancient yet again for the start of today. We go to Anubis for a map number 2 as well. So Ancient and Anubis back to back, and then we ban out Inferno, get rid of Mirage, and we get an overpass for a decider. You have to look at this one, Vincent, and you think, back to the blunders of RIT back against Northwood with overpass as the decider. If this goes all 3, do you still put that in their favor?
Absolutely. I mean, RIT's overpass is really strong, and just because they faltered once, that doesn't change that for me in the slightest. They'll have had time to reset and potentially look at what kind of went down. But the mindset that I got, talking to some of the RIT players, was that they just kind of got bested on the day, was their feeling. Some poor decision making, and that's where Northwood really took advantage of them. So going into a new game, I don't think that anything will change map pool wise or when it comes to their mindset. I want to go back to the earlier stages of this map pool, because Ancient, OSU picked this one out, and it's been good for them. Don't get me wrong, even in fact beating OC on this map, but this is also a pretty strong map for RIT, and I actually think that this is where we're going to see what could be in this series. I know it's the first map, and that isn't always the case, but Ancient could be a very interesting playground, considering both teams have strengths there.
No, and the CS gods have shined their light upon us today, and they don't give us a Mirage, finally, for our first series of the day, Vincent. I'm so happy not to see a Mirage come out right away. I love it to see a little bit of, a change in dynamic on the series, but seeing Ancient come out right away, I like that. For map number 1, I feel like this is turning into quite the litmus test of a map, and I think you've really touched on the fact that if Ohio State University can come out and perform well, maybe even take down RIT on a map like Ancient, suddenly that opens up a door for them. So hopping into map number 1, we start off with the Ohio State University on the T side of Ancient. RIT looking for a revenge tour back to form. We start on the CT side. Jakey is going to open up the round. Proto with the duel. He's not going to be able to get the 2, and as is now going to put some pressure on Uni with just a USP. He steps up. 3 shots, 3 kills for Uni. And that leaves Jax last alive.
Comeback trail there for RIT. Opening pick was fantastic for OSU, but Jax, that's a lot of missed shots. And how is he still alive? He's been allowed to live for far too long.
Not long enough, though, for the Ohio State University to come back from that round. Start off good, Vincent. A 2-for-1 trade through the caves. They reach the site, but not fully clearing out Uni. And we're going to get to look back at some pretty incredible shots here with the USP. Flash runs out, and then he's fully aware of what's coming his way.
RIT also doing a good job of getting back towards the B site really quickly. Aggressive position inside of cave, allowing for that to be the case with the double setup. Dooley's on Proto. This will be a pretty pure eco round, actually. Not much with regard to investment. And I think this is a good time to mention as well, right? I think some of the heaviest hitters for RIT were a bit missing when it came to the previous series. K2, MJB, some of the most experienced on this roster. Those guys need to have a good game, need to continue, but they're not having a good start. Look at that, both of them gone. Gotta be careful there in Temple. It's always a dangerous position to work from. But should be okay. 1v2 Glock only? Yeah, surely not. Proto walk away with the victory. Well, and that's a little bit of a dangerous round. A little scary.
Did the good old muting of my mics, Vincent. I forgot to unmute.
I noticed.
I was casting the rounds. I promise you. I was casting the rounds. Just nobody could hear me. Look at this from K2. I mean, you mentioned how JB and K2 need to perform once again for RIT. Well, they had a chance right there in the second round conversion, and you know, whether or not it's, you know, the Ohio State just coming out well, shooting or hitting their shots with these pistols, but in a round where they definitely should have had their tracks covered, Ohio State University are making it look interesting.
Proto's already got the AWP out.
Wanted to get aggressive here, and I love this out of the Ohio State University, just making it so scrappy at every corner. I mean, still a minute 30 left, and it's already 2v2.
This is a bit of a wild situation. K2's going to have an idea that they could have lurked out onto the site, and that is some great game sense from K2.
It is, but it's not what Ohio State University wanted. The Buckeyes falling short once again, it seems. Jakey has to step up here in the 1v2. Luckily for himself, both members of RIT are extremely separated. The only issue is they're separated on aggressive angles, and K2 is going to be ready for, seems like, anything thrown over towards this B site. Timing maybe going away from his side here. He's looked away, and Jakey's going to have a chance. Unfortunately, though, K2 watching. Spots the shoulder. Jakey's going to swing it, and he goes for it. 1v1. Proto's here with the up and beats him out to the site, ready for anything that comes his way.
RIT with a game plan coming into round 3. The first gun round, you can know how important it is. We talked yesterday, Seymour, about the CT side on this map and how incredibly dominant it can be if you get the utility out early and you have that flexibility. This was RIT trying to flex those muscles a little bit, and it doesn't quite go to plan. Some good answers from OSU, but ultimately, as scary as the 1v1 is, they come away successful.
More scary than a 1v1. It's a Tech 9 rush. Billsy and Swifty gonna open up this round fast. Ohio State, Proto, under pressure, but no worries in the world. Just ready to absorb this aggression and put them in the dirt. 3 standing for RIT, and Ohio State has been whittled down. Nice kill there from Jax, and actually Benji's going to be forced off this angle. Jax is hunting him down, won't hit the shots though. It is RIT walking away with 2 members alive. 4-0 start to this Ancient.
But OSU aren't in trouble. They were half buying there. That wasn't a full investment. So getting 3 kills, yes, Opry recovered, but a lot of damage. You consider that. The RIT economy, they're still bought down. Everybody's sub 1K with the exception of Uni, who's got a little bit of extra cash. This is just one round victory away for OSU to get this game back in business.
Good read from RIT. The B site has been reinforced. Members here from the Ohio State University could be testing the waters, and Jax dips his toe in a little bit too deep, and it's going to be an opening pick for RIT's favor.
RIT just making them asks a lot of questions right now. We've seen the first 2 gun rounds. It was a lot of presence towards mid. None here this time, and Jakey, patient as ever.
Went for the clear, but the flash goes a little bit too deep, and Jakey is on such a good angle to put this AWP to use. Is he gonna pre-clear this? No, he knows better. I like this out of MJB. Alongside Benji, it looks like they want to walk right through the smoke, or at least set up for what is on the other side.
There's only one man here.
Top Shadow
Everybody
is
else
not
is
going to be
falling.
ready for this one. Oh, wiped away as soon as the smoke goes down. He's made his way up caves. Swifty's going to push them back. Jakey's got to hit some shots, and he will for the first one. Knows MJP is going to be on site still. The K2 rushing to come back to help. Smoking a block off CT. Swifty clears off the side, and the bomb has reached.
Oh, that's unfortunate for K2, who's looking to deny the plant. It's all up to Proto now.
Smokes are down. Swifty should know that this is going to be a CT take. The timing, though, the timing. Jakey ready for it as ever. So vigilant with this AWP. Not letting go of his angles. That is a lovely round from Jakey, holding on to it from the beginning.
He's just a saving grace in this in so many different ways. Patient, like I mentioned, when it came to that position inside of Cave, just hanging out in Jaguar, and he didn't really have to move. And I think a lot of oppers would get a little bit too far forward, would get over aggressive there. But he just waits for them to come to him. And as I mentioned, RIT was just one round that was required for their money to be busted up. They're on a force.
Top Shadow can have some business from the aggression of RIT. It's been snuffed out right away. And a lot of these rounds, I mean, it's very, I guess, leading when you look at the score here, Vincent. 4-1 lead for RIT, but these rounds haven't been so dominant from RIT. The Ohio State University, they've been fighting exceptionally well at the start of this Ancient. They just haven't been stepping over that finish line. They've been falling a little short when it mattered most, and RIT in turn, their economy isn't going to be the prettiest. Neither side is, so these next couple rounds are going to be very important for the Ohio State to possibly tie this back up.
Now they have a chance here. No reason for RIT to continue force buying. Not after finding themselves in that position. Not actually sure where that Molly was meant to be located. But regardless, it'll just be the single deagle. That's the only upgrade on the back of Uni. Everybody else on USPs. So
peculiar here for K2 to get aggressive, but it's going to pay off. Knife in the back. Surprise, surprise. That's an AK now for K2, and nothing gained from OSU.
And now, I mean, it's the opposite. Everything lost. They have no more control of that area of the map, and look at this bait setup. It's pretty solid. Of course, Top Shadow has an idea, but
this is the good old classic through cave. If Top Shadow doesn't expect that, I'd be surprised, but he's going to spot the legs a little bit too quick to jump down as Proto, and that's going to give up cave control. Walking through Jaguar, Top Shadow leading in. Lovely shot there from Uni, but not going to expect the op from Jakey to be aggressive yet again, Vincent. The A site, or the B site, has fallen. The bomb's ready to go down.
A2's running for the hills. He's got an AK, and that's just fine for him. On the other hand, MJB will stick his nose in here, but probably run into an AWP before long, and there it is. So we got a moment to wait. I don't think there's any world where OSU try and go for this hunt. They are, as you mentioned, not poor, but on the cusp of being so if they throw away too many weapons.
I don't think they're at a point where it's worth it just yet.
No. Especially considering RIT, you know, you take this gun out, they're fine if they lose it. They still have money next round. But you, on the other hand, the long-term health of your economy on the line. And they won't be risking that.
Still early days, Vincent. You don't want to let it go astray here. I mean, K2 literally getting away with murder, knife to the back, but Top Shadow saves the day.
There's a lot of ticks in the chat. I'm wondering if he might have DC'd or something.
Good point. Unfortunate if that is the case, but
It looks like everybody's back, so maybe not. Just caught unaware.
I mean, a win is a win in that round, and whether or not it's a DC or not, he's going to be thanking the rest of his team. He's stepped up, especially Top Shadow, but Uni looking to plug the hole that has been Jaguar since the past 3 rounds, and it's an opening, very early kill there. Benji on a little bit of a off angle. Don't expect Top Shadow to be ready for this one, and no, he's not.
That's so much more effective as well from Benji when Uni just rips the head off of the first person that swings around the corner. You're so hyper worried, hyper aware of the angle that you just got killed from that you're never going to be thinking, you know, a guy on top of the box.
How do you claw your way back in this round? If you're the Ohio
He's
State
got to be
University.
careful. You hit a site, you play it together. That's typically the plan of action, and they have grouped up. Seymour, I think,
been here.
Does enjoy this area.
This time Uni knows better. Double swing out. Benji's cleared, and Uni wants nothing to do with this one. He knows what's coming his way, so he's just gonna force the aggression over towards ramp and remove Jax from the equation. Smoke's going down. Jakey's gonna take a hell of a lot of damage from that HE, and Billy is reeling back, but you look through mid, K2 waiting.
He's hearing him.
Hiding for this one, listening for all the footsteps. Do they clear it? They do not, and K2 lines them both up to put away the round.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake there from Benji. I don't know if it was the wisest to stick up top there. You know, they spotted you. Probably should fall back and get back in there. But it was good for the one frag, and that was the requirement. It also gives them the chance to peek over the top of the boxes there on site in order to check if anybody's trying to creep out on them towards ramp.
For mid, it's K2 again to get a double. Jakey's still fighting for Jaguar control, and it seems like this is going to be a point of contact for the rest of this Ancient, at least for the first half. Proto has made his way over. He should expect that Jakey has got his way through. Learning from his lessons, the slow peek, and Jakey takes the bait.
Oh, Uni's in such a phenomenal spot.
Pay off, though, it does. How do you expect the unexpected?
That little jiggle peek as well from Proto, excuse me. Just so aware. I mean, they know that he likes to be there, Jakey, but pulling the attention away from a guy who could be close ramp. And this is an off angle of all off angles. I mean, if any flash comes over the top.
Oh, Jakey's just a nowhere.
Jakey.
Proto just whipping on the head. Tough shot to hit. That's just down to Proto. Fast comes K2 to help him out, but he's still able to fight this one out. Jakey now, the op. Gonna stick the plant. Both members working together. The smoke's actually gonna give him an exit over towards the caves. They should know this, that they haven't seen the cross, but the smoke has actually blocked off enough, Vincent. There's a potential for a full wrap. Back around.
Oh, that smoke. He's just picked up the smoke, K2. This is what could seal the deal.
Now Jakey gonna struggle with this one. Drops the op, goes for the spam. K2 just a little bit off, but traces it. Listening for exactly where Jakey is. But a heads-up play there from K2 to once again step up big time for RIT.
And that's a round that's winnable if you're playing against anyone else but someone like K2 who just has so much CS experience behind him and knows what to do. Waiting, watching, and looking for the spam before even committing to the first attempt at that defuse. He's really stepped up, as you mentioned. 12 and 5 for the man on your screen right now. Another buy. OSU, they're not done yet. That bomb plant especially helping them out.
Those 3 rounds, I mean, those 3 rounds from Ohio State were very strong.
They're back. Uni and Benji have another setup, just like we saw before. I don't know if he's on top of the box, but he's wide. It's an ambitious decision, but
Sure.
it's also hard to contend with.
I'm sure that the Buckeyes have noted this one, and if they do want to dance with the devil again, I'm sure they're going to come with a plan.
OSU have been hoping and praying to see RIT play an aggressive maneuver of some sort this round. They don't have the utility for a more defaulty approach, so they're just sitting and waiting. It hasn't really paid off, though.
He's slowly working his way up. Jaguar, he's listening for the rotations, and he's feeding all of this back to the A site. K2 will be ready, and the smoke blocking off A main is going to give him some room to work with. Jakey going to open up and kill onto MJB. Off on the side is K2, who is always good for 2. And that's allowed enough for the rotations out. Uni's going to catch the lurk through mid. Proto working his way into Temple. RIT suffocating these members of the Ohio State University on site. And they're not allowing them to set up for a post plant. Top Shadow's going to fight his way out of this one. Benji, the first up to bat. He's going to knock it out of the park. And now it's just down to Billsy. They know exactly where he is with numbers. They're going to swing together and knock it off. Another round for RIT. They move up to 7. They guarantee themselves, Vincent, an advantage after the half.
That's why they call him K2, because he always kills 2. Every single time he's been there to deliver, this time over at the A site. And this is massive because he knows that there's pressure coming from main. It's just a matter of getting the spray before the trade comes in. And so many times, you're just going to get one out of that. He picks up the second. And it keeps RIT alive and strong economically, starts to build a little bit of money too. They're not all that much. It's a different place for aggression. This time it's Proto over at the A site.
They want to take their shots at Benji this time, playing a lot more passive. MJB on the aggression, caught out, looking away from the flash. Swifty's turn now, going to force Benji into the open. Now looking to press on the issue, but unfortunately not going to hit the shots. Uni wipes away the aggression through Cave and knocks the Buckeyes down to just 2 members. Jakey get tagged down to 17 off of that HE, and that's going to put him in some trouble. Smoke back in to force Billsy out to help his teammates, but it's all down to Billsy. 1v3. This time fell short. This time falls short yet again.
Granted, he was put up into a very tough situation, a 1v3 both times. And an RIT, or Surgent RIT, probably one of the best rounds we've seen, most dominant rounds we've seen from them in just a little while, coming out right there. And it starts out with a bit of a frustrating moment for MJP. He's waiting for a flash, and OSU just walk through a smoke. Catch him off, timing. The rest of the defense of the B site did a phenomenal job of holding strong and delaying.
Here we go again. Top Shadow this time gonna actually force K2 out of mid. A lot of passive from RIT. I don't mind this at all. You know, K2, see how he's a force to be reckoned with, but he doesn't have to do it every round. MJB, though, seems like he wants to dance. Walking right through the smoke. Doesn't seem like they're going to be ready for it. The timing has paid off. He slipped right through. Undetected. Only good for the one, but one might be enough. Uni, it's his turn now to see if you can plug the hole once more. The rest fight on site. K2 loses the early fight to Jakey. Uni can re-clear it. Back and forth, 2 versus 3, though. Numbers to the Ohio State as they get the bomb planted. They can get ready for this quick retake that seems like Proto's looking to spearhead through Temple, but they get off site. That's going to make things a lot harder for RIT.
They do have a smoke. RIT still in this. It's all about Proto, though. Needs to start clearing some angles, and he's playing so scared right now. Doesn't have confidence to take these swings, and now spawning a player in main.
Doesn't matter. Proto's still going to fight for it. Smoke down on the bomb. Almost landing the second one to Jax. Uni, he's going to hop it. He has the kit. But Jax, he knows better than that. listens for the tap, knows exactly where to look. He's going to remove him from the round. 8-4 at the end of the first half. The Ohio State University, they trail, but what a back and forth round.
Three things walking out of that half that I'm really interested in continuing to watch. Obviously, Jakey on the AWP. That was phenomenal. He was the best AWP throughout that half, and it wasn't particularly close. The other two things, though, K2 and Uni, so consistent on that B site, was able to really shut down a lot of the aggression and the bigger key, delay things out.
Well, Jakey, takes a dank, but turn to sender there onto Benji. He's going to give up the site, but playing with the numbers for the retake might actually pay off.
They have to maintain control of Donut, though.
Doesn't seem,
and they can't.
Seem like that's going to be too easy, but they have whittled things down into a 3 versus 2. Jakey down to 11 HP. Has to be careful for the fight to come. Just leading in for the information, playing on the front line. MJB going to shut him down, and that's 2 with the dualies. Tucked away. Billsy's got to go deep, and without a kit, it doesn't seem like this round is even possible. RIT, another pistol under their belt. Last time it was Uni. This time MJB comes to play with 2 dualies.
A massive couple of momentum and kills for MJB as well, who really had a struggle of a first half. But the decision-making, team-wise, is fantastic here. Like I said, had to maintain for OSU some positioning inside of Donut in order for that to come away successful. And RIT know those win conditions themselves, taking that space and overwhelming. Now, this is an interesting decision for OSU. Look at Top Shadow. He's got an MP9. He's fully invested into this round. You've heard of the Hero Rifle, but the Hero SMG, that's a little less known.
The Hero Zeus.
Well, that we've all heard of and love.
Do it.
Have everybody here.
Come on, please. He spots him, but the Zeus just barely misses. Uni is going to be thanking the lucky stars after he sees the bolt of electricity. And now they run it. Full setup into Cave. Uni not even going to clear this one. They know as soon as they walk into Donut, they see nobody. It's time to get that bomb down, Vincent.
To be fair, walking into Donut and seeing nobody there and through mid, it is suspicious.
That's a good kill there from Jakey, and they're actually going to be doing quite a bit of damage onto these members, but nothing more than that. Benji's going to be able to recover the AK off the ground. And albeit a Hero MP9, a Zeus into the last rounds, nothing really to write home about.
Yeah, I think they did what they wanted and more with 3 kills. So OSU coming into this next round, though, it's a very important one for 2 reasons. Obviously, RIT starting to close the distance to that key 13. All right, to get that win. But a reset of the econ right now for OSU allows RIT that much closer, and they can't be doing that.
Forced stop, running out is Top Shadow, removed, though, by MJB. Swifty looking to pick up the pieces off the ground, see if you can recover this round yourself, but shots a little bit astray and nothing going the way of Ohio State. Proto has already reached the backside of B as well. This round is done. Billsy left alone yet again in an unwinnable situation, and before you know it, you blink, you miss it. RIT are dominating this map, Vincent. The map pick of the Ohio State University. They wanted to take RIT to Ancient. They had a plan. They figured that if there's any map that was going to play in their favor, it was going to be this one. And oh man, were they wrong. RIT just looks so put together.
I mean, that's why I said when we saw Ancient come out, RIT probably pretty happy about that fact. It may not be their number 1 pick, but it's up there. It's on the top towards their list.
Billsy at least going to make this one expensive. Almost actually the lineup onto both those members, but Uni is going to finish that off. And no rifle carried over for the Buckeyes. So may go around again. Maybe potential to force up, but I don't expect it.
This plan, this was good idea to get aggressive up through Jaguar and try to find some positioning there. It's a really common way of making life difficult for the T's early in a round, but the problem is you just have to win those engagements, especially when you're putting so much in that area. Got to double up, and it just doesn't work out. Tom Shadow's back. He didn't have enough last round. He wants to try again.
What a shot. Jakey. Jax. Okay.
Yeah.
Do it again. Ah. No fun. What?
JB's giving him a chance to.
Bills is actually going to be the one to do it. Top Shadow now has an AK, and this round is falling apart.
Okay, this is the big scary moment. Getting this bomb over and across onto the site because Uni has positioning and can smoke off Cave. It's a little deep. Uni's got to watch.
Shadow's just going to walk on through. The bomb's going down. Proto misses the no-scope, and Top Shadow has a real chance to put this one away. Proto has backed up into the cave. HE can open this one up. Spots him out, but won't be able to get the shot off. And an incredible round from the Ohio State University Buckeye Gaming Collectives. We're able to stay alive with 2 members, recover an AWP, a little bit of util, and an AK as well, Vincent.
The Eagles, they are dangerous, and Ohio State showing us exactly why. This was Jakey and Jax, consistent as ever. And they thought they had a little bit more space to work with. They didn't know that the player up in Cave could be so close. Knew that he could be there, but clearly had no expectation of them to be swinging through a smoke. Oh, this is going to be fast. RIT, they're headed out to B, and they got Molly's to contend with.
Half rounds to give away as well, so why not just run on in? Top Shadow looking for 3, but only going to be able to.
That's
get
who.
2 there. Jakey comes to the rescue to put away another.
I think his domain is simply Cave.
Really feels comfortable in this spot. They have trapped RIT on site. Both members going to be playing around the pillar. Benji with the Galil. MJP with an AK swinging around his Billsy. Finally going to get the better of that one, and Jack's not going to give up his life. So a lovely retake from the Buckeyes. 3 stay alive and continue to slowly climb their way back into this one, Vincent. Now, when you look at the scoreline, 11-6, and you think about what needs to be done for the Buckeyes to bring this one back, you turn the tides here on Ancient. Where does it begin?
Well, I mean, it's already begun. Now, where do they come in at maybe the possibility of the comeback? Well, honestly, I think they need to get up to 10. So they still got a long road. That road, though, is currently paved with only pistols.
That's all you need, though. Saw it before, and seems like we're going to see it again. MJP lines up, too, with the Tech 9. He's just running it down, and he has fallen. 3 members left. M4 picked up, Vincent, and now 2 M4s.
OSU have a really tough decision to make. They don't really have a ton of money, and only Jakey has not max, but has a bunch of cash. Jax is kind of close, but in order to get a really good gun round with all the utility, which you really, really need on this map, then a save is what is required. Not to mention how far away they were with any utility that was left for RIT. This one was a tough decision. I think it's understandable. OSU going for this save, and respectable as well that they're willing to go up against a 12 rounds that RIT have. Right, they're going to be playing on map point. They know it'll be overtime required. A lot of teams will say we don't play for overtime, and well, this team is willing to, and I love that.
You know what needs to be done, Vincent? It's a difficult concept to grab, but
look, they got everything. Like maximum utility in this round.
it's not now, it's never. As a great Canadian once said, never say never.
not even going to ask about the greatness.
On an angle, Jakey. Do they expect this one with the op? No, they don't. K2 walks out, and what a big kill. Drops Molly at the feet, but Benji does not waver at all. He walks on through the fire and tears him through the flames.
MJB, he had alert timing out towards B, but they've gotten away. No bomb yet planted, and that's because, oh, Benji, that's massive.
Gotta be careful not to lose anything more, because Swifty is on the case. He has already trekked his way through Temple, but MJB's gone unaware, and he's gonna remove the player from Donut. The lurk has paid off, and it's all down to Top Shadow to keep this one alive. 1v3 on the cards. Kit on the back pocket. The world to take down right now, and he's already got through 2. All is up to his MJB, who is all the way back behind Donut, and he is playing with his food right now. He's playing the clock to perfection. Top Shadow sticking it out, but it won't matter. RIT, they're taken to Ancient, and they're happy to play here.
That they are. Some big moments across the board. I think for RIT, you have to put a pin in the OSU discussion because, man, K2, keep him alive in that first half. He was so incredible. And then I think in the clutches in the second half, that's where RIT were unstoppable. Anytime they were in like a 2v2, that type of scenario, they were the ones coming away with the victory more often than not.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that it was a real one-sided affair. I just think that when it comes down to the end game in a lot of these rounds, you have these individuals of RIT who can get the job done and, you know, put together a couple multi-kills to really push the Ohio State over the edge. But the Buckeyes, they put up one hell of a fight, Vincent, throughout that game. There was a lot of rounds that came down to the wire, a lot of 1v1s, a lot of 1v2s, and you run this back again, who knows what a lot of these rounds look like. But for RIT, who came off of a 2-0 loss to Northwood, wished they played better, this is a good step in the right direction.
It is. I will say there's still some concerns. I'll get into that before we jump towards Anubis, but just overall on Ancient, there was a lot to like from Ohio State. Again, this isn't a team I've seen a ton of, just seen a couple of games from them, but the way that they were approaching those retakes, their decision making and the macro, whenever it came to when they were making those decisions team wise, they were all really good, and they were putting together a lot of moments where they could have come over the line, but it was RIT that came away victorious instead. And I think a lot of that had to do, like I was saying, with some of the clutch factor and some of the individuals.
Yeah, and you know, one thing that really impressed me too from the Ohio State, you know, on top of all of that is, you know, you can really see why they pushed Oklahoma Christian to the edge. This team, like you said, really well put together, but behind the AWP of Jakey, so many pop-off moments from Jakey, and you know, you had some, I guess, inklings of a moment from players like Top Shadow, Swifty, Jax. You know, Billsy was put in a lot of unwinnable scenarios. Would have liked to see some more of him in the early rounds, but Jakey, more often than not, he was involved, and he was really putting out the most with this op, and I'd like to see that carry over into Anubis as well.
I do too. I think Jakey was a really bright spot for OSU, but you know, looking back at these replays as well, I think that K2 on the CT side for RIT, how many rounds did you think he won on his own? Like, it was like 4, maybe,
at least 3 or 4
more. Yeah, like that, you know, if you can put K2 in a box and then throw that box away, then maybe it's a different story, right? And that, I think, is got to be priority number 1, continuing to see what we saw for Jakey and then figuring out a way to stop K2 towards that second map.
Yeah, man, it's not going to be easy. You know, we're sitting here, we're theorizing on all of this one. It won't be easy for the Ohio State University, but I think the Buckeyes knew that going into this matchup. As you push further and further into this Rally Cry Collegiate Series event, you can see that the bracket is scary, even in the lower bracket. I mean, you have Fisher down here, you have RIT down here, Oklahoma Christian. So, you know, eventually you're going to have to get some revenge against the team that has really, I guess, taken you down in the past. But for the Ohio State University Buckeye Gaming Collective, you can start to see that this team is making strides in the right direction, Vincent. And within this game, you know, you fall short, but there are stuff you can pick apart when you go back and look at this map. And heading in towards Ancient, it's not going to be a very easy game, but again, you can trust in Jakey to put up numbers like this.
Yeah, and if that continues, then any game is winnable. I mean, you just kind of look at the matchup, right, with Proto especially. Proto had some opportunities that he missed out on, but even though we didn't get the head-to-head, you just see the difference in the impact that we were seeing. And you think about a map like Anubis, that's a very AWP-heavy map, especially on the CT side. So I'm really excited to see what OSU can bring to the table, but RIT looking
We're going to have to wait and see a little bit. We're going to head to a quick break here on the desk. When we come back, Anubis will be ready, and I'm excited to see the outcome. Can the Buckeyes take us to a map number 3? We're just going to have to wait and see. We'll see you on the other side with some more Counter-Strike.
We get how uncertain the future is. We've come of age in a complex world, face to face with problems we didn't create. So what's gonna happen next? We are. Because our future is the future. The life we have chosen has prepared us for this. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in a day. We're gonna save families from disasters and feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more because we have an appointment with destiny. We invite you to join us. The next greatest generation is now.
Welcome back, all you Collegiate Counter-Strike fans. We're back with our first match of the series. We got the Ohio State University going up against RIT Orange. And Vincent, after map number 1, we're showing what we got from RIT. They come out after, you know, feeling a little bit pressured of their loss from Northwood. And so far, it looks like they're taking the steps in the right direction. But even watching that Agent doesn't feel like they're playing at their best. It still feels like they have room to grow.
Yeah, I think that we saw a great version of RIT, especially some of the individuals. You know, I talked a lot about K2, but I think it's important to mention Uni as well. He stepped up a lot, and where there maybe is still some space to work with here for RIT is MJB was very quiet in the first half, really brought it back towards the end, and actually had some really high impact moments in clutches, which is why I mentioned that as a key factor for that ancient win. But if MJB were to step up a little bit more onto Anubis, I think that that's why I'm a little bit concerned that OSU have just lost their map pick.
Yeah, and you know it's going to get harder and harder the more you look down this series with Overpass as the decider. If you do go to a game 3, I think the Buckeyes are going to have to go above and beyond to take down these Tigers. And you make a great point in saying that, you know, if everybody comes alive and starts to activate here for RIT, it might already be over for the squad. But we did put a lot of highlight for the Buckeyes before the break, and we were talking up a few members who could get that done. When you're looking at Anubis as, you know, an objectively, you know, T-sided map, there are still ways for, you know, the side of the CT to still pop off. And you look towards Jakey with that AWP to possibly be that form of success for the Ohio State University. And, you know, OSU, they're starting on the CT side, so I'm gonna have my eyes out for Jakey to see if he still performs.
I'm so glad you brought up the op, especially on Anubis and with regard to the CT side, because there is sort of two ways the CT side can go. It is a T-sided map, and that's where sometimes you find some struggles. It can be difficult to retake at times on Anubis, so you find yourself in these save situations very often. One of the ways that you can make it a lot more tough to actually take the site is that AWP. Often you see a double op as well on the CT side, so I'm excited to see more of that, considering that fact.
Let's see if it comes into play. RIT starting off the T side. OSU, the CT side. Anubis map 2. Ohio State looking for their revenge. Proto leading the charge with Uni to look to head over towards A. Billsy gonna be hiding in and amongst the smoke. Swifty looking to give up the site, seeing if they can pressure out these players and hope to find these kills. But Benji and Uni, what an incredible force. They push on through.
And they've got all the CT as well at this point. And MJB is locking down the flank. There's nobody in that direction. All three of the CTs come in the same angle.
Gonna be an easy retake. Very two-dimensional. Just gotta walk out and hit your shots, and that's a good start. 3v3. A lot of damage done. Top Shadow, though, fighting back. Benji playing from heaven. Swings it around, puts it away. 4 kills from Benji in round 1. RIT start off with the pistol.
That's incredibly good to see. Benji coming in basically just smacking OSU right in the mouth in that pistol round and continued to W key even up into CT. It's exactly the type of aggression that can be difficult to contend with, and especially when you got a Glock running at you. Benji hitting shots like that, it'll be an instant tactical timeout, which is a little bit of an interesting decision. That suggests to me maybe OSU want to go for a force buy here on the CT side. Not something we've seen very often
from the CTs,
at least not throughout this event. But yeah,
maybe
we saw what their Deagles could do. To be fair,
I was about to touch into. I mean, Jakey and Jax both together have been putting up numerous kills with the Deagles. Maybe they just want to talk over potential for the second round to see if they can, you know, shut down the conversion and bring it back. And you do see a Deagle in the hand of Swifty, 5-7 for Top Shadow and USP for Billsy. So not sure what the idea is here.
Yeah, no force buy, but I don't ever think it's a bad idea to use a timeout, to be honest. Like, there is better and worse times, but getting a moment to talk things out or just settle back in, never bad. It could just been somebody spilled some water, you know? You never know.
Only the players really truly know. We're just here to tell their story.
Right now, their story involves a lot of blood, at least the OSU squad walking in with just about nothing, and they get nothing for their trouble.
See the way that they play that, too,
And
for RIT. Just, it's very together, you know, expecting something to come out of that timeout. I think they had the right read off the aggression.
I agree. Yeah, walking into this, they were a bit tentative, which honestly is a good thing to be on an anti-eco. Tends to be the case. You don't want to walk into a stack or anything like that. But speaking of AWPs, there won't be one into this round considering their money situation. A pretty one-sided look from RIT to start things out. All of them set and ready right in front of the steps there towards Canal, and they'll just walk their way up to Top Shadow's position in E-Box.
Like it's going to be a split to D. Majority through E-Box. Top Shadow has the most to do, and nobody is going to be expecting it. Shoulder to shoulder with Uni and Proto. And he's going to put them to rest. Benji forcing his way back onto site, though, and this is a 2v2.
Benji's on 10 frags. That's an important second one to pick up.
Smoke is going to make things hard for Jakey. Benji is unstoppable. 11 out of Benji. He's looking for everything. The ace on the cards.
Give it. Let him have it.
MJB just waiting for support, and now they know where Billsy is. Benji, I'm sure calling for MJB to just let him have it, but it's got to be MJB to clutch it up. Billsy finally going to get the better of Benji. Just won't get the round at the end, Vincent.
You know, what's a little friendly body spraying from MJB over to Benji? Kind of tells you the attitude right now within the team, to be honest. All of them having fun and really enjoying what was some phenomenal early rounds from Benji. 11 out of the first 3. We saw the quad on the pistol round. That was impressive enough, but, well, every single time, even with low HP, he was still delivering when it came down to the B site, one by one.
Ohio State have been silenced so far at the start of Anubis. Almost similar to what we saw at Ancient. It was 4 rounds in a row for RIT before the Buckeyes really got the ball rolling. Seems like we're walking the similar path here. Proto just going to give up mid. So, the right time, Swifty can walk on through. Jax almost may have had a chance there on Benji, but everybody is falling off from RIT. It seems like that was the bomb down, so they got to go recover it.
Look at Proto, just ready and waiting. Ooh, missed shot, though.
Missed it twice, though.
It's the easy one and hit the hard one. It is that same exact road. And you see what I see, Seymour?
I see Jakey finally bringing out the big green. And not only that, a double up setup.
We're twins!
Congratulations.
This is exactly what I was thinking the CT side could be pulling out. And it's so very effective here. It'd be difficult to contend with for the T's. But Proto, he's done it.
Proto is shut down the first 8 up. Top Shadow's going to recover it through E-Box. Shaky next up. Really good on these aggressive angles. Unbeatable in the moments. And may bring back the Buckeyes for a time being.
There's really no expectation of that second player swinging in from E-Box. There's no real choice in the matter now for RIT. They're going to go towards the A site. They've got a smoke for heaven.
She's going to know Billsy should be close up that Molotov, and he's not going to leave him standing for long. The expectation that Jakey's waiting through mid. Benji is knowing everything that's on the map. Giving his team a chance at a round win. Proto, a lot of damage taken from that HE, and K2 not going to be expecting Top Shadow, just lurking in the smoke. Over towards the op is going to miss, but Swifty there to clean up the rest, and the Buckeyes, they finally get one on the board here on Anubis, Vincent. It's down to the ops really stepping up in times.
RIT did a great job of making that round winnable, though, despite going down towards the mid-round. But impressive performances there. Top Shadow and Swifty, especially. Swifty getting the key frag onto Benji and cutting it down to the 2-on-2. OSU taking that first round. That's sometimes the toughest one to pick up. And here's the biggest thing. They maintain the double AWP. They maintain that cash flow. Pick them back up after the win.
Is he going to be ready? He has Jakey on his wing. He goes back in for more. Bites off a little bit more than he could chew. Jakey's going to give up that angle.
RIT are pumping the brakes. They're not fully committing to this, though the full rotation has come in for OSU. They are relatively committed towards A for the moment, but RIT patient as ever. Not making a commitment here.
So much
And
time.
it's starting to beg the question, where the heck are RIT?
Jax found him. Gave him a hide and seek, but Jax is not afraid to be the seeker in this scenario. Smoke. Allow for a safe plant. Jax, Molotov, going to be doused by the flames. HE's going to be in. Swifty waiting for a chance to strike, but the smoke is going to make it hard. Now Top Shadow's lost, and you don't have a player lurking. Benji tucked away, anticipating the walk through the smoke. It's all down to Jax here with the op. He's going to be forced out into the open, and Proto's going to get his op back from a few rounds ago.
Proto and Benji in the 2-on-3. That key smoke and a missed Molotov as well. This was a really strong setup to start things out, though. And Jakey, if he gets that kill, it's round over. But again, it's Benji consistently performing for RIT right now. I mean, this is just I want to really hammer home, Seymour, how absurd Benji's scoreline is. This is crazy numbers.
Benji's having himself a time. Almost bulletproof, it seems.
Proto's doing much the same. He's, I'd say, has the better of the AWP of anyone in the server right now. Granted, OSU have only had a couple of chances, so he's playing with house money, but still.
The thing is, even when they do bring out the op, I feel like Jakey, you're starting to notice that he excels with the element of surprise. And on Anubis, there's only so many angles that you can kind of do that with. And if he's not staying dynamic, if he's not changing it up, Proto's the type of player who he's going to start reading it and expecting these angles. I don't think Jakey's going to get away with it like he could on Ancient.
It's hard. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is right now for OSU. They need to potentially play a little bit more aggressive, but they tried that last round, and even when they got the advantage, I say last gun round, even when they got the advantage there in A main, they still didn't win the round thanks to the 2-on-3.
Wish you could get that one back if you're the Buckeyes. Gotta forget about it. Move on. Back into the double up setup. Hawk in the hand of Top Shadow. Call of Duty gun.
You would know, to be fair. We just call that a gun with a scope.
It was once upon a time.
Once upon a time last week.
Once upon a time a few years ago.
This is really slow from RIT, especially compared to what we've seen before. But I think they're searching for OSU to make an adjustment, right? Trying to find out like who's there. MJB's tucked in a great spot as well. So this A hit, when it comes in, which it will, potentially fantastic for MJB to cut off rotates.
Unlike in the past, Buckeyes have done a good job at not giving anything up early. So we'll be at full force for this defensive setup. Swifty just trying to hold his life. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get anything out of it. Billsy will get one, but immediately refragged. And here's where you call in for MJB to watch the rotation through mid. It seems like Jakey has an idea that the lurk is in play, but he's looked away, and that's going to give MJB the timing. Takes down Jakey. Jax now looking to retake with Top Shadow, who is recovered in 8K, but it's a 2v3. MJB going to be watched. Tucks underneath the crosshair. MJB, he's unstoppable.
You just needed the zoom banger. Sometimes that's all you need to pick it up. And he does. Massive moment. Round from MJB. and one we've been sort of waiting for a little bit. Picking up a double kill there. This was a great execute as well, though, for RIT. You saw the layering of flashbangs, keeping everybody blind, and so the player on the site realistically has one opportunity to take a fight, and if he loses it, it's sort of over.
Good damage there from Jakey on a proto. Bold fight to take. But on these one-shot angles with these deagles, RIT are starting to catch on. Yudi looking to accept the aggression. Unfortunately, only going to get the one kill, and that's going to be an AK for Top Shadow. Tossed over towards Jax. Billsy, no way. No way he's walked on through. How has this turned around? K2 has eyes on the back of his head, Vincent. He just knows.
That's what we in the business call unluckers. Flash comes in at just the worst time. I don't know what that flash was for, but it wasn't for him.
What gets him to turn around there?
Well, the fact that nobody was watching the flank, that is what it is, but man, the flashbang is so crazy.
Billsy. He's definitely going to be frustrated after that one. That is a desk hit moment, if I've ever seen it. Now we go over towards A. MJB ready for the close setup from Top Shadow. Easily dispatched up by 2. All down to Jax with an AK picked up from earlier on. Anything to get done with it. So far, just the 1 kill. Proto's going to leave it at that. 8 rounds for RIT. You'd see why they wanted to go to Anubis, Vincent. They look impregnable on this map.
Yeah, this has been a map that RIT have had in their back pocket for a really long time. And last year, nobody would play Anubis. And they've been cooking for a while.
Let's see how far they can push this T side, how far they can shut down the Buckeyes. Seem to be quite vulnerable here in the CT half. Og is back out, only with the single op this time. Jakey holding it through mid. Nobody giving him the time of day.
This is a valiant stack. You don't see this that often anymore. It's really consistent early on in Anubis.
Looks like it's going to be at least good for a couple trades, but Proto, and how good has he been so far? K2 is going to watch the flank as well as Swifty. Into the same demise as Billsy just last round, and Jakey still has yet to be known with his op. Proto watching for the aggression from the CT spawn. Jakey beats him out, something we haven't seen too much just yet this map. It's going to give a chance back to the Buckeyes to maybe clutch up, but K2's still alive, and what do you know? It's a double kill.
Proto and Benji, though. My goodness, these guys. Proto, unstoppable right now in the AWP. Finally felled for what feels like the first time in an actual op tool. And then K2 hasn't been a requirement, but that's thanks to Benji. He comes back with a vengeance of his own. It's getting dire.
We're hoping that this is one hell of a T side if you're the Ohio State University. Not only that, possibility to end on a high note here. Proto going to be shut down from water. Top Shadow shoots him in the side, and he now looking to turn the tides of battle. He's snuck through an A on B, and there's the opening that you've been waiting for. MJB turns things into a 1 versus 2, and now they're collapsing. Billsy all alone. MGB with the anticipation of the aggression, like always, ready for the fight and ready for the win.
They had dropped the bomb there. That's really the only place that OSU had any business being. Was some thought that maybe there was a mid player looking through the window, but no, not going to happen. Benji does it again, providing an opening alongside Proto's AWP. It's K2 on a P90. for the final round of the half. And they are sending it out A.
Swifty has to go big in this moment. The spray down, and it's Proto with the op to take the fight against the M4. K2 is bringing a P90 into this round, Vincent.
I mean, he did swap it over after the 3-on-3. And MJB is lurking, but he's gone down. This is now far better for OSU than it was before.
Seen it fall apart, and it looks like it's doing that again. Proto ready for the play. The op shot a little too early, flashed out, and Jax is going to be able to clear it. 1v2 for K2. Can he do it again? Put in the 2 in K2. Jakey not going to allow it this time. An easy cleanup there for the win of the round. The second from the Ohio State University. At least finishing this half with 2.
Yeah, but it almost doesn't feel as good because RIT, they were being a little silly that round. They played really aggressive, and even in the clutch there, you saw K2 playing with some incredible confidence that really didn't warrant the situation, but certainly warrant the scoreline. Not to mention, I know we can't see it anymore, but 16 and 17 frags for Proto and for Benji. They are usually not the guys you're going to see at those numbers in a half. And I mean, it's phenomenal to see Benji especially picking that up. He was in a one-man army for the entirety of the first 5 rounds.
How do they draw this one back? It's going to take opposing willpower. And a pistol round, of course. So far, so good, Vincent. I mean, they've taken 0 damage. K2, quick in the flank. Not even hitting the shots that he's needed to. Jack's at range, putting K2 to rest. It's all down to MJB in a 1v5 now. 1v4. USP. Best pistol you can have in that scenario to possibly get it done. But Swifty ducks underneath the crosshair and starts off this round with a chance. Thrown into the water.
Yeah, there it is, right? You know, there's still a long way to go, but hey, a pistol round this dominant, I don't think that changes anything for RIT, but it should be a bit of a wake-up call that, you know, at the moment they're playing. You saw the angle Benji was on. That was an angle where you either hit the shot or you're insta dead. And Benji is playing as if he's going to hit the shot every time. Fair enough. Maybe that round will tell RIT that they gotta show a little bit more respect.
Oh, Benji looking to be run over. Pilsy gets the trade of his teammate, and MJB's gonna make him have a little bit of trouble too. Steal a deagle as well for both Proto and Uni.
You could tell that Benji was looking to be run over there. I didn't know you had that knowledge.
I am the all-knowing.
I mean, you can see through walls. You are pretty powerful. I'll give you that. Oh, K2's found an AK.
K2 has found an AK. And this is becoming quite expensive for Buckeyes. Jakey just looking to escape unscathed. Oh, Proto says not today. That is not how you wish that round went.
All but one player go down for the Buckeyes, and well, guess it is fair. You put the Tigers in position to take a couple of weapons, and they will pounce. So this is really not a bonus round. This is a full investment from OSU.
He's gonna get caught out in a fight against Benji. That's still going to turn the tides for the Ohio State. Swifty posturing over towards B here. Top Shadow is going to be spotted and removed into a 4v4v go with the rifle. Shaky's got to be careful for this one. Proto, he wants to answer this one. And
oh, he's hearing the timing.
this is hauled down to K2 with the MAC-10, listening, waiting for them. A low HP Jakey swept under the rug, and things falling apart for the Buckeyes in round 15 of Anubis.
And cash isn't the #1 priority for RIT, but that's $1,800. Back pocket.
Pro's gonna make this worse, too. Escapes with 12 HP, now looking to run away from Swifty as well. Calling for all the assistance, but it's not needed. Proto and Benji, what a series from the two of them so far. I mean, they can do no wrong.
And this map, they certainly can't. K2 jumping in as well. Picks up a triple kill. The Mac 10. On OSU put back into this horrible decision-making spot where do you save, do you buy, and play for OT. A longer way to go, and they go for the buy.
It's got to be a big comeback from the Buckeyes, but, I mean, you look at this from Rochester, and you have to think that they showed up today. They had an idea, and they have been putting that idea to the works from start to finish. And they have not slowed down at all. Benji on the pillar. 4 members need a side flashed out. They all are just waiting there in the open. Benji's good for 2, and Proto's going to get the rest.
That's incredible. That dynamic duo that we've been talking about the entirety of Anubis coming back in the A site to stop the push. The flashbang coming in as well, serving them up on a silver platter to Benji. I think 4 players are blind off the back of it. It was a force buy last round. It's another one this round. There's only one positive to talk about there for it, and it's the single rifle in the hands of Top Shadow.
Again, just changing things up. Shaky quickly going to trade it out and deprive now Rochester of that AWP. But is it going to be enough? It doesn't seem like that. Benji through mid. An unstoppable force for Rochester Institute. 13-4 on Anubis. A 2-0 versus the highest state. They move forward in the lower bracket, and they never looked back.
I mean, what more is there to say about Anubis other than just the Benji and Proto show? They came to town, and it was a jaw-dropping performance.
It doesn't get better than that for RIT, Vincent. Coming off of a loss from Northwood, I'm sure you're going to be frustrated. Speaking to even their IGL MJB, it's not the way that they wanted to perform back in the winners bracket. They had a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and I think the Buckeyes just unfortunately had the unfortunate draw of matching up against a team who wanted to work their way back into this lower bracket and do it without really making any mistakes. And going up against RIT today did not seem like it was going to be easy for anybody.
No, I think there is a world where that is a lot closer of a game. If we don't see some of the individuals have such an incredible performance. But the reality is that it was going to be a tough battle regardless of the situation. And the situation was basically the worst it could have been for the Buckeyes tonight. I think they came into this one, and I thought maybe they had some chances. All ideas of that fell away after watching the first 5 rounds of Benji.
Yeah, and I mean, back on Ancient, it was Uni and K2. Uni starts off Ancient with a three-piece with the USB. And we start off map number 2, Anubis, with Benji getting a 4K. And that didn't stop there. 11-0 start from Benji. In this round in particular, it's finally where they shut him down 3 rounds in, and that's the first death that Benji gets. But it's not where the dominance stops. It doesn't slow down at all. Benji keeps on going, keeps on hammering down these rounds. And at the end of this series, it's all said and done. I mean, the Buckeyes, they're walking away from it battered, bruised.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're walking away in this Rally Cry tournament, considering this is the lower bracket. That's, I think, what's so devastating for them. They go out not with a fight, something to be proud of, more of a whimper, unfortunately.
We talked about before this map started, the AWP duel, how good Jakey was on Ancient, how much of a chance the Buckeyes were given because of that. And the idea that moving over to Anubis, that might still be an important talking point. Well, Proto makes it a null factor. All throughout this map, Proto was entering with this AWP, turning rounds around, and clutching up when you need him to. That one shot right there, that JQ1, is the only up fight that Proto lost all throughout Anubis. A 10-2 half and 2 members who are putting up just insurmountable numbers for RIT.
It does put it into perspective, right? How Ancient was so entirely undefended when it came to the AWP for RIT, and then when Protoss come out to play, a performance you really can't expect. We find Jakey, unfortunately, just that non-factor, but I think everybody for OSU was in that same boat. It wasn't one player having a bad match. It was everybody for RIT stepping up and finding impact no matter who you were.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this, 23-8 there for Proto, who apparently has a better KD at the end of the day. But Benji, the impact was felt. You can't go, I mean, he walked in the first 5 rounds and he started out like 14-1. That's how incredible it was for him.
It doesn't take anything away from Benji for the performance that he had on. He's just a little bit more involved with the frontline battles. Proto able to play safer with that off, and in turn, those 23 kills, 8 deaths is a very safe, very secure game for Proto, and a matchup for RIT that you were hoping for going into today. I mentioned to you as we kind of were sitting in the green room trying to plot the story of RIT and saying, does this need to be a very, I guess, secure, very dominant win for RIT? Well, it doesn't matter at this point. It is a dominant win, and heading into the rest of the lower bracket, I think that is going to propel them even higher now.
Yeah, I think that this was an RIT team we had a high expectation for. They come in as NACE champions as well off the back of last semester. They do everything right initially, and they run into a Northwood buzzsaw. And now they have the entire lower bracket ahead of them. I think that they absolutely had something to prove today.
And they're stitching themselves up one step at a time, Vincent. So it's a big win for RIT to move forward. I'm pretty sure facing Fisher College up next, another tough matchup that they're going to have to walk into. But for what is up next here on stream, we got Matthew McConaughey fan club versus the NCSU Wolfpack taking the stage once again. Very excited. We'll touch on it after this break. We'll see you soon with some more Counter-Strike.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
Well, I go to school full-time.
While I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Our generation isn't turning away from the world's problems. Watch us fly ahead, rise to every challenge, and overcome anything. Watch us become the next greatest generation.